second entrance, Megs.
My strategy was always intimidation.
Wasn't Megatron a bad guy?
Not anymore.
Traitor. Resist. It's my favorite part.
Transformers EarthSpark. Stream the new series with your family this fall.
Autobot, roll out! I can never tell if he means me.
Exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Hello everybody and welcome, this is Common and Cam, and today we've got more EarthSpark news. We've got a brand new clip of Megatron, because they've been doing the character trailers, and now with Megatron's reveal being on the side of the Autobots, and now we have his character trailer. And honestly, I'm really warming up to this Megatron. I think it's something brand new and fresh, something that I think the franchise kind of needs when it comes to the cartoon series. Because we've had moments in other Transformers series where Megatron has a little bit of good in him, but it's never been fully explored or taken to its full creative liberties, and I think this series is something refreshing, and I think it's going to engage fans more, just to see that side of Megatron. Think about it like this, guys. When this series is finished, we're going to get another Transformers show, and I bet you, Megatron is going to be the villain, the main Decepticon leader, once again. So I think you should really give this show a chance. Of course, if you're not a fan of it, that's fine. Then you'll just skip out on this one and wait for the next series. But I, for example, am excited for this Megatron because, well, considering I've not read a lot of the comics of the Autobot Megatron, I know a little bit, but I don't know the full extent, so I'm not going to act like I'm a lore expert or anything. And for fans who haven't really engaged in the comics or just never been interested, well, this is now the time for them to see that side of the comics and transition over into the cartoon. And Megatron is actually funny, and I think they chose a really good voice actor. We got Rory McCann, who is best known for being the Yop guy in Hot Fuzz, but then also as the Hound in Game of Thrones, and he was one of my favourite characters. His tone of voice always just had this dry, dark humour about him.
Can I get you some iced milk and a nice bowl of raspberries too?
Eat shit, dwarf.
But I think has been implemented really well on this Megatron, while at the same time of his character being kind of more warm and fuzzy, especially with the main human ally. Out of anything, I'm more excited to hear about their friendship and how they became friends. And you know what? Now it's made the human character Doc Malto more interesting. We do get a brief clip of him actually punching Soundwave in the face after Soundwave calls him a traitor. Of course, Soundwave has always been known as the loyalist, the dedicated follower to Megatron, and now he's getting punched in the face by him. Well, damn, that's gotta hurt a little bit, especially if this Soundwave has been following him for this long. No wonder Megatron punched this Soundwave. They've now made Soundwave a space, so it's just Soundwave, not Soundwave altogether. So that, yeah, he definitely deserves a punch for that. We also have him fighting other Decepticons as well, which is just like, wow, this is just going to be so fun to see him take on so many Decepticons. And then we've got the light-hearted joke at the end when Optimus Prime says roll out and Megatron's not sure if he means him. I just think that's funny. That's just something I never thought I'd want to hear, and I just love it. It's just going to be so great to see Megatron in this new light, and I think the banter and the comedy is really going to come out here. I'm actually really excited for it. Now, I did a video yesterday talking about its connection to Generation 1 on whether or not it is or not, and I explain in full detail, but because some of you may have missed out on that video, I'm going to just reiterate what I said in that previous video by following Benson Yee's article when he actually got a glimpse on the flashback scene from the first episode. And if it isn't obvious already, be prepared for some major spoilers. Okay, so a while back, the Transformers Nickelodeon Instagram account shared renders of Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Elita 1, and Megatron with their Generation 1 counterparts. Now, at the time, we thought this was just an evolution comparison from 1984 to 2022, like, oh, that's pretty sweet, you know, acknowledging G1, showing how far these characters have come. But then when you look at the G1 images a lot more clearly, these aren't screenshots from the cartoon. These are actually screenshots from something else, because we never had that shot in G1 of Bumblebee next to the Autobot insignia. We never had Elita 1 and Optimus Prime in a shot like that, especially with Optimus and Grimlock on Cybertron. And the shot of Megatron, Starscream and Soundwave is an homage to the shot of the original cartoon intro. And at New York Comic Con 2022, they showcased the flashbacks from the first episode of Transformers EarthSpark, which is titled Secret Legacy Part 1. And the episode begins with the kids learning about the story of the Transformers and their arrival to Earth. And then it transitions into the classic Transformers animation style for the 1980s. Of course, it's not exactly the same. They've obviously added a lot of CG style to it. And because I like to think I've got a good eye for these sort of things, I noticed the exact shots they've used from the original cartoon and just placed here, like with this shot of Optimus Prime from the original 1986 movie. Now I think that's a great attention to detail, like for someone like me to notice that I go, yeah, I know where they used that shot from. Oh, so they really are paying attention to this. Also, yes, we have Jazz and Grimlock, so does that mean we'll be getting Jazz and Grimlock later on in EarthSpark? I think that's a good tease that we could potentially see those characters down the line. Now this isn't the first Transformers show to use flashbacks from the original cartoon. For example, Transformers Animated, in the first episode Optimus Prime is watching a history lesson from the episode War Dawn. And then we've got Transformers Armada, where the Cybertron sequence uses models actually from Generation 1, like my favourite Autobot there, Beachcomber. So, is this G1 canon or not? Well, there's loads of evidence to suggest by these screenshots and by what Benson Yee watched that this isn't exactly canon to the original G1 cartoon, more like G1.5. Basically, a different universe. What would have happened, for example, if the movie never took place? Because obviously Optimus Prime is still alive. Bullet points that Benson Yee noticed in this flashback sequence is that there is no Ark or Nemesis, the Autobots all come to Earth via a space bridge, Grimlock exists on Cybertron before the Autobots even arrive to Earth, Leader 1 comes to Earth with Optimus Prime instead of staying on Cybertron like she did in G1, and while the Autobots would eventually team up with the Earth Defense Command in Generation 1, in the 80s, their military association was loose. Now at New York Comic Con, where this was showcased, producer Ant Ward stated that this continuity was referred to as G1.5. Now fans have been using this phrase for years ever since G1 transitioned to Generation 2. And apparently that is not what Ward is referring to. Benson Yee noted that questions come flying at these panels all the time, and all these questions don't get the full detailed answer that people want. They're kind of like off the cuff and like move on to the next one. So this universe, Transformers EarthSpark, is supposed to be just another adjacent timeline that we've never seen before. A good example of this would be John Carpenter's original Halloween movie. The amount of movies that has had based on the original canon, the timelines are endless. It looks like a railway map. And another reason as well is that they just wanted to pay tribute to the original G1, as the writers and producers are fans of G1 and Beast Wars, and they just wanted to pay homage to that. So it's something as simple as that really. If you want to go more deep and lore into it, then yeah, EarthSpark is like a separate continuity of Generation 1. And there we have it. That's all the details I'm going to talk about in the article because I don't want to spoil it for myself. I still want to be surprised. But I will leave a link to the article in the description below. Big thanks to Benson Yee on providing us this information. It's a really good article, so you should check it out. And overall, I really like the idea that we're going to be referencing Generation 1. I'm not really going to think of it as canon, I'm just going to think of it as a good homage tribute to the original cartoon because, well, it came out like over 38 years ago now. That's a long time, and I think with this new Transformers EarthSpark, they really want to do a good job on pleasing the fans. And also drawing in new fans as well, and that's what the Transformers brand has always been about. You look at the entire history of this franchise, and not every Transformers show is the same. It's got so many fans from different continuities, like I was introduced to Transformers Armada, and I still look fondly on that show today. Some people were introduced through the movies, animated, Prime, etc. It's one big giant fan base that shares the same love and passion, and I think it's one of the only few brands that actually pulls off this formula well. Like, we've got other brands that don't seem to have the same amount of success. Transformers is a constant like train really. I think Marvel, DC and Transformers are like the main brands that have always got something going off every 2 to 3 years. There's always something new coming out, always reinventing itself, and I think that's a business strategy that's just going to keep going and going and going. The Transformers brand is a rich brand. It's got so much lore, so many characters, so many designs that are up for interpretation, and I think that's why the brand is still going strong almost 40 years from its original release. And in other news, Transformers EarthSpark will be premiering early in Australia. It's going to be going up live on 30th of October, while for the rest of the world, we have to wait until the 11th of November. And I think that's a bad business strategy, especially for Paramount Plus. You know, to get that up early, it's just going to open up to piracy. People are just going to take it from the Australian streaming platform, and then they're going to upload it to online. And then when it comes to this being released on November, people won't get Paramount Plus now because, well, they don't need to. But I don't know. Sometimes you can just never explain their strategy. Anyway, I've talked about this way longer than I ever needed to. This has been Common and Cam. Share me your thoughts in the comment section below. And for more videos just like this, be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to get all updates instantly. This has been Common and Cam, and until the next video, goodbye.